This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. Now, it says this in block capitals on my piece of instruction paper. We are not live. Do not text. We're pre-recording this show, so don't text us. You'll be wasting your money. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, however, at Frank on the Radio. Furthermore, email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk. That's the housekeeping out the way.
I like the way it was done. It was sort of very to the point. Don't text us, you'll be wasting your money. I like it.
I think it's...
You don't hear furthermore enough.
No. No, I was talking about... I suggested... You know, I do a poetry podcast, and if you're aware of that. And I suggested that sometimes you read a poem more and you think of more stuff and find more stuff in it. And you could... I was on about a spin-off series called Furthermore, in which I... talked about my extra bits. We could do it with this, baby. It wouldn't work. All right, crowd's a bit gobby today. Listen, I know this isn't a book club, but my partner, Kath, is currently reading Bridget Christie's A Book for Her. Bridget Christie, the comedian, obviously. Yeah, so she's reading that. Now, she hasn't been to Waterstones. She ain't been to Dawn's. Where did she get this book? Did she Amazonianize it? No.
Where did she go?
She got it from David Baddiel's front wall.
Oh.
So people put... No, not theft.
No, Frank.
Yeah, he was asleep next to it.
I have...
With a cocktail with a straw in it and an umbrella.
I have perused David Baddiel's wall.
Have you?
I was leaving yours once. I think I did pop... I would have popped into his, but I got distracted by the wall. Because he leaves a lot of wares out on that wall.
He does, and you know what? If I was going to put stuff on my front wall, in case you're not familiar with this as a tradition, people round by us put stuff they don't want on their front wall so that passers-by are welcome to take it. You may recall I had a difficult incident with a box of New Yorker magazines where I thought, can I have all of them? Would that be all right? And I ummed and ahed, and on my way back I decided, yes, I shall take them all and I will read them and they will be loved. And then, of course, it had gone.
I wasn't imagining the right thing at all. Of course, front wall on the outside on the street.
What were you
I thought this was some weird way of referring to one of those sort of built-in wall bookshelf things inside the house.
Well, then it's a good job I explained it.
Super.
Turns out.
Thank God for furthermore.
He's got a low-slung red brick, David Baddiel.
I think that would be betraying a confidence. We did do a PETA advert together, completely naked.
Really?
Oh, really?
How did it go?
It was all right.
There was a rabbit involved. There's always a rabbit, isn't there?
No, there wasn't a rabbit in this
you know
one.
what I mean.
No, that was a different event. I remember that morning he was in the living room and I just walked through the living room completely naked just to get it out the way, and he'd never seen me naked before. I just strolled through and went, morning! Completely naked.
Did you get a feedback?
I got a wolf whistle as the door closed. It could have been a squeaky hinge, I'll never know. Anyway,
it's very handy, his wall, though. That's great. She got that.
Yes. Now, I should say it looked red, the book. So I'm guessing that he's done that honourable thing that people do, is read a book and then think, I will disperse this. Honourable, not if you're in the publishing business,
no.
But if you're, a socialist. So it's called, as I say, A Book for Her. Now, I wouldn't read a book called that because as you know, I've spoken about this before, a sort of clinical obedience. And the thing I always say is I won't eat an after 8 mint before 8, which sounds like a joke, but Buzz, my son, was bought an after 8 Easter egg. Lovely choice for 10-year-old. And last night, we were getting ready for bed, and he come round with a big gob full of chocolate round the corner, and my partner said, no chocolate this time of the night. And I said, it's 9:15, meaning it is after 8. So I fell into that thing. But a book called A Book for Her, I would think, best not read that. So my partner's reading it.
Well, isn't it a callback to A Bic for Her?
Of course.
I think it might be.
Yes. It's not often I miss a pond, but I miss that, baby. Can I say, just to round up my sort of obsessive doing what I'm told, I remember getting really quite miffed on a bus once when a woman had a baby in a Tuesday bib, and it wasn't a Tuesday.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So I was talking about David Baddiel's war giving. It's one of the war givers. I went past recently, pre-Bridget Christie, A Book for Her, and there were religious items on David's wall. There was a statue of the Blessed Virgin, a light-up picture of Jesus, and a sort of what looks like onyx. Maybe it was onyx. An onyx medallion with a cross on it.
Oh, right.
On some sort of leather thong. And
I knew you were coming.
Again, I thought, I'll get them on the way back. I don't want to... I was taking the dog for a walk on the heath. I didn't want to be followed by pilgrims.
Did you want to say to David, if you want me to come round, you could just text. There's no need to lure me round.
I find it rather passive-aggressive.
With icons.
Well, I'll tell you what I did think. I thought... he's written this book now about atheism. He's thought, I better clear this stuff out in case a journalist comes round and thinks I'm a phony.
No, he was probably doing research into your area.
I don't know. His partner is my son's godmother, so
yes.
It could be that...
David's been chucking it out.
Yeah, it could be that... she wasn't there. On the wall. By the way, I should say he's got a book out called The God Desire, which has had fantastic reviews. I think that the strap line in the book is, if you hate God, you'll love this.
What? This is a bit...
Quote from Beelzebub.
I think this is the definition of a bit orcs.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you make God angry...
Do you know what, though?
2 days later, Frank Lampard was signed as the Chelsea manager. Yep. Beware of what you say.
Do you think on Amazon, if I buy a comedian's prayer book, it'll say, if you like this, you might struggle with this?
Yeah. Well, the paperback version of my prayer book is out, just come out, so it's like a battle of the books, but I don't think I got much chance.
You can be happy, bedfellows.
Mine is of a minority interest. But anyway, David's... I haven't read it yet because I just like to keep our friendship going a bit longer. But I'm told Stephen Fry loves it, apparently.
Well, there you go.
Well, I'm waiting. Yeah. I'm going to read it.
He read his quote. He's quoted on the front of the book. Apparently he read it off a small card from his card index.
I am reading it. I'm hanging out round that wall, and it will appear soon enough.
Anyway, I went back for the religious stuff. It had all gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Had it?
Oh. Who'd have thought? I hope it wasn't. I hope it's not being misused by diabolists.
You don't want that falling into the wrong hands.
That'd be terrible.
No. An onyx medallion.
Yeah, well, I'm guessing at onyx. I'm no geologist.
I don't like the sound of that.
Yeah.
Well, it looked lovely.
Sounds a bit Mr. T.
Anyway, that's the latest. And the book, the Bridget Christie book, had got a £20 note inside it in like a bookmark form.
What?
It hadn't, but if Dave's listening to this, I just wanted him to slightly choke on his breakfast. Am I being rotten?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So,
Continue, Frank.
don't forget this morning's text in. What is shampoo?
It's what posh people call champagne.
In brackets, how does it differ from shower gel and other soap substitutes? The reason I ask this is because I was away for the what we would call in the Black Country the weekend.
And can we just say, please don't text in?
What? No,
Because we're not live.
Well, actually, we're not live. Don't text us, but you can email us on that,
Absolutely.
and we'll read it next time. Because here's my dilemma. I was at this place, and I went into the shower, and there was probably 8 bottles in the cage. You know, the shower cage.
The cage? Where
Yeah,
were
that-
you with the MMA fight?
There was a cage with, bottles of
So
product.
on the wall.
Yeah, on the wall of the shower. And they did not include shower gel.
Right.
They were all shampoos. Was one conditioner.
Nice shampoos?
There was a sort of shampoos that said on them, instead of saying shampoo,
Yes.
and at the most, like for dry hair, they said stuff like Method 47, full embarkation free module hair regime, colour allegianced. And I don't know what those shampoos mean.
I'll tell you what it means. It means welcome.
How does it?
You're in my country.
So I thought to myself, I'm in here now, the water's on, I'm wet. I must tell you something else, something I've developed recently as a shower thing.
Was the font, just a quick question. I suspect the font was almost quite medical looking.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, yes.
Very.
Science lab.
It looked like
Yes.
there should have been a sticker with my name and address and dosage on it. Any road up, I thought, and I've never done this in my life, I thought, would it really matter if I used the shampoo, even though, as you say, it looked like from the sort of top end, if I just use that as shower gel?
Yeah.
Will I get a horrible rash? Will it dry me out? I thought I've got hair in other places, so why not?
God's sake.
Oh, well, under my arms. And
I don't wish to know.
what about those men who've, have plastered in hair? Why shouldn't they shampoo all over?
Present.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have considered that.
Yeah,
As a
exactly.
to sort of be like a giant dog man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a Newfoundland in the shower.
You know my motto for your kind?
No.
Should have gone to Neckshavers. Anyway, so I did it. I thought, I'm not like you, Harry, but I've got
Can
down.
you not call Pierre Harry?
I've got down. Pierre, I call him.
Pierre.
Pierre Henry. Pierre. So I did it. I did it. I washed. I showered just in shampoo. And I have to say that my body hair has never felt more lustrous.
Yes. Like a golden retriever's coat.
But the news is...
No, not a golden retriever. It's more Irish wolfhound.
Oh, yes.
The news is no rash, no terrible dry patch. Nothing happened.
You've seen through the
The
Matrix.
news you didn't really
I
want
have.
to know.
I have, but I have washed my entire self in shampoo, and it was fine.
Okay. Did you get the conditioner out?
No.
Okay.
If I got the conditioner out, does that mean I wouldn't need to go to the gym anymore? Like I go to the gym. The very thought of it. The last time I went to the gym, the medicine ball was king.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is still us. Don't text today because we're not live. But you can still email, Insta and all that free stuff. I was going to tell you something that I've started doing shower-wise.
Yeah.
Do you remember a couple of weeks ago we spoke about the concept of deferred gratification?
Yes, the marshmallow test.
Yeah, the idea that if you put something, it's like going to university, you do all the hard work, and at the end of it, you've got this lovely degree which will get you through life. But for me,
Yeah.
not for everyone, I realise. So, what I've started doing is putting the shower on and getting straight in to the cold, which is horrible.
Oh,
I hate
it's a
it.
bit Wim Hof.
So I think, I dread getting in, but I've got this knowledge that it's going to get warm. And when it starts to get warm, it's fabulous. I really feel like I've earned that warm water.
Really?
Try it. Try it at home.
No.
This is a sort of very low-level version of sort of Opus Dei, sort of suffering for the relief
Yes.
and salvation.
He likes to suffer for the relief.
Yeah, I don't wear a cilice, if that's what you're suggesting, which for those who don't know is a sort of barbed wire garter. A few of my friends in the S&M community will be giggling at home.
Borrowed.
Yeah, exactly. I think they'd have liked the cage in the shower section as well.
Yeah, you'll never see a silice on Badil's wall.
Well, what if you did? I mean,
Imagine.
what would you know?
You'd think I'll get it on the way back from the dog walk and it would be gone.
I would, don't text us because we're not live, but on the email Insta front, so we could do it next week. I'd love to know the most interesting things you've seen put out on someone's front wall to be taken.
Oh.
So,
I had my neighbour's lovely child. I was walking down the street taking the dog for a walk, and I heard this voice, and he said, "Excuse me, I have bandanas for sale."
wow.
Now, it's quite niche,
Yeah.
which I like.
Great thing to yell as you shove through a crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And-
have bandanas to
Oh,
he
what-
said it
I'd be
so-
frightened I'd turn round and see Axl Rose in reduced circumstances.
And I love the excuse me.
Oh, that is,
Yeah.
yes, I always like
And then I
politeness in
noticed-
children.
A mother sort of loitering
Oh, yeah.
in the door just to check he wasn't being rude. I mean, he wasn't. He was the world's politest. I didn't know what to do because I said, "Oh, lovely." I didn't mean lovely.
No, did you
I thought, go with
purchase?
it. I said, "How much are they?" He said, "They're £4.99.
Oh, I bet he hadn't got change.
I thought, this is tricky
Yeah.
because I bet he doesn't take. I mean, they probably do, these young people, don't they? So I said, they look so lovely, and I really admire you selling the bandanas. I'll pop by on the way back.
Okay.
He said, "Oh, that'd be lovely. Thank you so much."
And did you go home a different way?
No further questions.
Okay. You could
Plead
have got
the
one
fifth.
for the dog, and then you could have gone to the Cambridge Folk Festival.
But you know what? I admire his industry, and
Yes.
good on
What,
him.
the bandana industry?
Well, yeah, I admire
Yeah,
the
I
fact.
admire them as well.
Thank you. Anyway, just an idea for
I'd have
David
bought
Baddiel.
one because my partner's always pointing out to me that because of my enormous forehead, wearing dark glasses and that, people still come up and say, "All right, Frank, how you doing?" Doesn't make any difference at all. But if I wear a bandana, I'm basically invisible. Because they're looking for the head. That's what they seek.
Oh, is that the thing that makes you
Yeah, it's
who you are?
It's the forehead.
Do you
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah. People at first think I'm a television set, and then they realise it's me.
Well, you've got to hang on to that forehead for dear life.
Well, I think the forehead will be all right. It's I comb back with gay abandon. I don't care. You know, loud and proud with the big dome. And you know, my view, in 1,000 years, everyone will look like this.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Here is a thing. I like to try unusual drinks and foods, especially if they're sold as health giving.
Yes.
I buy into the old Fall song title, "Eat Yourself Fitter," and I tried black lemonade.
Oh.
Giving it a go. I look to you, Em.
Of course not.
No, okay.
What is it?
Black lemonade is
Good band name.
it contains charcoal.
Oh.
And that is all you know and all you need to know. And it's disgusting.
Is it?
I can't tell you, it's the worst commercially sold drink I have ever tasted.
It sounds very much like something you'd buy from a Canterbury Tales character.
Well,
Or one of your
Well,
humours.
did they have lemonade?
Very probably.
It reminded me of, I remember discovering that the Texas Rangers, back in the days of the Wild West, would drink out of a hoof print when times were hard. You know, the big rain would have gathered in a hoof print and they'd drink. And I bet you that tasted better than black lemonade.
Is it the dread activated charcoal? Because you'll find that a lot in allegedly health-giving
yes.
compounds.
I didn't notice if it was activated. It sounded like something was at work.
Is that the stuff when you get the charcoal toothpaste?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, do you
yes.
ever use that?
I've had black toothpaste, yeah. But toothpaste...
Oh, it's the toothpaste. Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't mind because toothpaste is, it's in and it's out.
You don't mind, but when you see someone coming into the room saying, I was just wondering... Oh, it's quite a sight.
Well, I've heard people say that... I remember I went through a period in my early days when I first started cleaning my teeth.
When was that?
Well, when my brother brought home a toothbrush when he was about 16, and my dad said, we've lost him. My dad honestly said, I don't know who he thinks he is.
That was like Metal Bird in Sky.
Oh, man, like educated Rita. But yeah, there was much suspicion.
Lost him.
Brought home a toothbrush like an unsuitable bride.
Yeah, get that out of him. He didn't actually stop him from using it. When I first started
That was very
using
generous of him.
When I first started using it, we didn't have toothpaste in the house. My brother kept it away. I used to just put salt on it and brush with that, but it can, the gums don't like it.
Is it?
Yeah, the gums start to become inflamed.
Oh.
You should see the expression on Pierre's face, which he's trying to sort of disguise. But it's like salt on a toothbrush.
I've heard of that, but I'm more surprised that it wasn't good. I thought that was the thing, salt on a toothbrush.
Well,
for people who are allergic to fluoride.
Remember my dad would be a man who'd walk into the kitchen, take the top off the butter dish, take out a scoop and just put it on straight on his hair before going out. So it was different times, is my point.
Yeah.
What I was getting at is that some people I'd heard used soot. And they would
I think we know which family they were in.
It wasn't us. But that makes me think that the charcoal thing was around then, but in its more primitive form.
Which
that was almost everything.
You could call it artisanally produced.
Yeah.
Charcoal toothpaste?
Anyway, if you see black lemonade in a shop, don't.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Pierre Novelli. Don't text us today because we're not live, we're pre-recorded. You can still follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. That won't cost you a wooden nickel. Or you can email via frank@absoluteradio.co.uk.
Okay.
Yes. So I have in my hand, listen, cellophane covered Easter egg.
Yes.
And this is, it's called Southern Fried Choc and...
Yes.
Choc and...
Yes,
so it's
I see what they've done there.
It's got the batter. The batter is reminiscent of that invented by Colonel Harlan Sanders
Yes.
for his. I'm just arranging crockery in case you're wondering. But there it is. It looks to me like, you know, when they find things like pterodactyl droppings.
Yes.
It looks like a pterodactyl egg. It's horrible.
It's very. It has the batter of the KFC look about it.
It's very time team.
But it is.
But
and
they've
it's got,
gone for the southern fried.
what, badly dressed people looking at soil? Anyway.
That's us, isn't it?
So what I'm going to do is this egg is it was brought out especially for Easter, funnily enough, and it was limited edition.
I mean, I'm going to say, Frank, alarm bells are already ringing in my direction because I noticed they did list the ingredients. Now, the Colonel made it very clear it should be kept a secret.
Yes, he did.
They listed there's garlic and onion powder.
Okay.
Now that concerns me.
Even in powder form.
In powder form, it's still Satan's evil bulb.
Oh, steady on. What about our French listeners? So I'm going to break the southern fried choc. Also chocken. It's choc. CHOC apostrophe just an N. Now, look, I love an apostrophe N. Guns N' Roses, rock and roll.
Would you like to buy a bandana?
I'm not sure. Well, how much are they again?
£4.99.
Very low. Well, I'll see you on the way back.
Where is she? Will she ever come?
Oh, he's still there, that boy.
You there, bandana boy. What day is it?
He's probably maybe he's 8 feet up a lamppost, so he can get a good view of the road, so he can see you early.
Yeah, he's climbed up using one of the products.
Yes,
Go on then. So the southern. Oh, you're not going for the punch.
I'm not sure grammatically.
punch an egg.
This is my point. It's a grammatical point. Can you end a word and then the apostrophe? It feels.
You could say like, it's a big un, but that's apostrophe UN, isn't it?
I'm through. It's a big.
It's a big un.
I'm all right with.
Okay.
But this, it sounds like it should be chicken roll, chicken roses.
Yeah, I like the way Frank announced I'm through, like sort of escape from Alcatraz or something.
Yeah.
It's like an egg.
So I've got some bowls.
Andy Dufresne.
I've got
I
some
made it.
bowls and I'm about to use them after I eat this egg. Oh, bowls, I misread that.
Your opening strategy's curious.
I punch the egg.
Do you
Yeah.
go for the punch?
Yeah.
Pierre, you
Look at
seem
this.
like an egg puncher.
How dare you?
That's for Madame.
Yeah, I wouldn't punch. I'd apply a brief moment of grip. I would worry punching it would reduce it to inedible shards.
Well, let's try this. And remember, it's chocolate on the inside and a garlicky batter on the outside.
I will say, as someone who has an issue with sort of mouth noises and things on the radio, I apologise to any fellow sufferers for this.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh,
It's finger licking good. You know what's great about it?
It tastes like a coincidence.
no, but I'm gonna,
It tastes like maybe that was packaging. That last
Yeah.
bit. It tastes like exactly what you'd expect a chocolate egg to taste like if someone covered it in southern fried batter.
oh, it's growing on me. Do you know, I just had a gear change in my
yeah?
mouth.
Really?
At first I thought, this is so unnatural and unpleasant. And suddenly, now it's creeping up on me, Frank.
Well, can I say, just to add to your taste experience, that it features Deliveroo's own secret blends of spices. Deliveroo's secret blend, right? Transport people, basically.
Also, not so secret anymore, Deliveroo.
No. I don't want to be in a restaurant and the waiter comes over and says, "Oh, that's actually my own sauce." No, I don't think so, mate. You know, they are waiters. Deliveroo are essentially waiters, aren't they?
It's like the postman writing you a letter. No, thank you.
It's like when BritBox makes its own TV programmes instead of just showing the old stuff. Stick with what you know, love.
Frank, I quite like it.
Me too. Only a year to wait to go and get one.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had our southern fried egg with a special secret blend of spices delivered, not curry spices, more courier spices by Deliveroo. And I have to say, I quite liked it. And now, of course, we've answered at least part of the age-old question. Which came first, the southern fried chicken or the southern fried egg?
The southern fried chocken.
Chocken.
I'll tell you what it tasted like, Frank. General fridge aroma.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You know when
I remember what a guy he was.
Yeah, famous French hero.
Exactly.
General Frigidaire.
Yeah, he worked with Blucher, I think.
I think
General fridge aroma.
Yeah.
I find it was very... Do you know that thing when you store unlikely bedfellows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perhaps in too close proximity to each other.
In the fridge.
It's happened to me several times before.
Yeah.
I've had mince near a tiramisu, half eaten.
Oh.
Yes, and there's a sort of there's an exchange.
Happen? It's like, is that osmosis?
Pierre?
I don't think they need to be in contact for it to be osmosis, but
I think, yes, you need, I think what you need is a soluble solution into a less soluble solution through a semi-permeable membrane.
that's bang on.
Yeah.
Get that man a GCSE.
He
didn't.
swallowed a dictionary for breakfast.
Right.
God,
I blame...
what an awful thing to say.
Isn't it awful when people say that?
Yeah.
Can I make this clear?
My worst thing.
I blame Barack Obama for this egg and for
Why?
many things like it. Because I remember many years ago...
Is it one of those podcasts?
Yes. Barack
Is it a bro podcast?
Yeah.
Barack Obama said that his favourite chocolate was salt caramel. And it was quite... People said, what? What kind of a crazy juxtaposition is that, Mr. President? They said. And I remember I did a TV show and we tried it. And everyone, like, I got someone out the audience to try it. And we were all, oh, my goodness, it's actually all right. A bit like we were with this. But I'd never heard of that salty, sweet thing sold commercially like that before. So I think, I think it's
everywhere.
Obama-esque.
It's
Do.
No.
Obama-esque. Do.
So you think that he kicked off the salt, the savoury sweet alliance?
I do. I think he tasted it somewhere, but it was a minority interest.
I do remember it sort of starting to take over the world around the time of his term.
Believe me, if you look at it, and you will, if you look it up,
And I will.
it was him. Now, you know, one of these "What's your favourite biscuit?"
Yes,
thing that the politicians get asked, and he said, "Oh, I love a salt caramel." People thought he had taken leave of his senses. I think I said at the time, "Absolute power corrupts absolutely," which is the new station that
Absolute power.
Absolute. No, it's called Absolute Power Corrupts Absolutely, and it's got a political bent, but with guitar-based popular music.
Power metal.
Really?
Yeah,
It's a mixture of power metal and sort of quotes from Napoleon and things.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I'm looking
I
forward
quite
to it.
like that.
Yeah. Bush and Richie are going to be rushed off their feet.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've had about half of southern fried chicken.
Chocken.
Yeah, I have to say, people mocked the northern fried Mars bar, didn't they? And now it turns out that the Scots were pioneers of this.
Yeah.
sort of thing. They get no credit on the chicken. So I think that's wrong.
I've been criticised, mildly, but still enough to land,
Okay.
by Frank for scraping off the southern fried coating. Because the chocolate inside the southern fried chocolate is, I would say, very surprisingly high quality.
Yeah, but Deliveroo take no credit. I want to know what Deliveroo's got up their sleeve. In their larder.
Oh, for their next secret recipe.
Yeah. Under their crash helmets.
Maybe that's the next one, is some sort of food that tastes of the inside of a helmet.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Oh,
We'll see
shut up.
how it goes.
Can we discuss our own eggs?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'd like to know how you both deal with the opening. I mean, Pierre is so obviously a puncher. Frank, do you think that's a fair assumption?
I imagine that Pierre would take an average-sized chocolate egg like a lozenge, just down in one.
I look Desperate Dan.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you've got some of the Desperate Dan-ness about you, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I just need a very small hat.
Yeah.
Yes, I see you sort of ingesting it much like a snake or
Yeah.
an alligator.
Yes.
Just in one.
And I won't need to feed again until next Easter.
Well, I used to describe my own physique as looking like a snake that had ate a donkey. You know, those used to see those pictures. It was a very thin thing with like a lump in the middle.
But I find there is a move now towards, and they are lovely, towards the sort of more elegant, refined adult egg. When I say adult, bear with. I mean a sort of tasteful egg.
Yes.
There's no more the sort of foil afterthought nestling in the Malteser mug, or remember those days?
Yeah.
Yes.
I miss the mug.
The mug?
The chocolate themed
Do you not
mug.
get the mug anymore with the egg?
I don't think you do.
I think in those days the mug, do you remember, it was seen as such a prized item.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
the
like
era when they gave away faux crystal glasses at garages.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I think they were described as tumblers. But I had a Smarties mug which had a Smarties egg in it. The whole thing held together by a prissy cellophane wrapper, not unlike that of the Lucasade bottle. But no, I think they have sort of removed the mugs now.
I got a glass, I got a sort of window now. The egg is on display permanently.
Really?
Personalised, my name in icing. I got this from my
Oh.
best friend.
Nice.
Well, nice, but how does one
Eat it.
open? So I handed it to my godson, and he approached it in much the same way I think you would, Pierre. He just opened the lid, shoved his fist in.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a Guy Ritchie movie, the way he did it.
I think nowadays, if you've got anything that you're going to destroy, but which is nice.
Yeah.
Kittens, for example. No, that was a joke. It was a
Oh
joke.
my God.
But as long as you've got
wrong with
as long as
you?
you've got a photo.
Actually wrong with you.
So if you photograph the egg, then it's fine to smash it up and eat it because you'll always have it in your
Let's
in
not
your
apply
handbag.
that rule to everything.
No.
I would never punch into an egg box.
Would you not?
No,
Have you-
I would
would
feel
you
like
punch?
a brute.
Not into that, but I usually hold an egg, as you just saw me do it. Hold an egg in my left, I cradle it in my left, and then I smack it one with my right. There's a skill to it. You don't want it to fall on the floor. You just want to knock a
He
hole
did
in
it more like it was a quiet hit.
What I do, if I do that, then the remaining egg becomes like a bowl from which I eat the chocolate.
You did it like someone trying to sort of knock an edge off a piece of quartz without ruining There was a sort of a jeweler's aspect.
Interesting you say that because the holiday home I stayed in last weekend was owned by a man who, according to the framed newspaper article on the wall, was regarded as perhaps the finest diamond cutter in the world.
Yeah.
About that for a job.
Imagine the way he smashes his eggs.
Oh, God. Yeah, the eyepiece in. And then the... Oh, man. What a palaver.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We were just talking, just casually in the break about, you guys were talking about TV, the people that watch those American TV shows.
It's a bit like people will be using toothpaste now.
Yes.
Bringing
What
it into
was
the
it?
house,
And
sellouts.
You gave a sort of recommendation of the show, which means I will never watch it.
Yeah.
Well, your sister-in-law actually recommended it to me. It's called Uncut Gems.
The movie Uncut Gems.
Yeah,
yes.
which I'd not caught up on. And your sister-in-law kept saying, you've got to watch this. And I loved it, but...
Well, it's like a 2-hour panic attack, yeah.
So it's...
Is it one of those that knocks your stomach up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, one of my real problems in films, and I've spoken to you, certainly spoken to Emily about this before, is when someone breaks into her office and starts going through drawers and taking photographs of documents with those cameras that look like a cigar cutter.
Yes.
And then it cuts to the car park and the man's forgotten something.
Yeah, often whistling.
Yeah, and it's often a frosted glass door, so you know you're going to see. And they're still
Can
in
I-
there. Just talking about that has
Can I
given me a
recommend that you
stomach
don't
ache.
watch any film with the word Watergate in the title?
No, okay.
Okay? I know what you mean, Frank. I'll tell you what I find very difficult to watch. There was a film called Clockwise.
Oh, God, exactly.
And if you could perhaps... It's sort of everything goes wrong.
Well, it's about a man John Cleese, who specialises in timekeeping and efficiency to the point where he's called to speak on that subject
Yes.
at an important conference, and then a series of things happen to him, which means he's not going to make it. And there's a bit where he's with this schoolgirl who's going with him because I think she's also doing like a talk about something.
I hope so.
And the car is like upside down in a field, and there's like 20 minutes to go, and they're 100 miles away. And she says, "Don't despair, sir." And he says, "It's not the despair, it's the hope." And the idea that he might still get there.
It's whether you think it's worth investing. I have the same with The Fugitive, I'm afraid.
Well, and Man vs. Bee.
Oh, really?
Oh, Man vs. Bee
Is that the Mr. Bean man?
Well, it's not actually
Why would I
Mr.
watch that?
It's not. Well, it's because it's like that.
If you found Man vs. Bee that stressful, I think if you watched Uncut Gems, your hair would set on fire.
Well,
You can't watch it. He can never watch it.
I don't know if you'd ever recover.
But
Well,
also,
you
it's
should
a bit
try.
more. No offense,
Well,
but
it's a
it's slightly
series,
more high
man.
stakes than Man versus
you
Bee.
say that. Don't underestimate the level of destruction that occurs in Man vs. Bee. It really is. But I spend the whole thing going, really.
No, I'm not suggesting that the Bee isn't. It's not bad. I just think Uncut Gems is.
Is the pinnacle.
I'm championing Man vs. Bee.
And for
tell you what,
sitcoms?
I think obviously don't text us today, but because we're not live. But if you want to get in touch, and I'm happy to conduct some allow people to champion these two.
Which is more stressful,
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Man
With-
versus Bee
Yeah.
or Uncut Gems? Extraordinary content.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So Emily got a personalised chocolate egg
Yeah.
with your name in icing.
Very elegant, adult egg.
Which was ritually smashed.
Well, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it was the way my godson did it. It was lovely the way he did it. It was a very clean hit. He just it was
That's always
handed
good.
over. He just his fist descended into the packaging, and there was it felt nothing. It was over in an instant. It was a
Lovely.
lovely clean break. How you did the same, Frank?
Well, I got an egg from my I love blonde chocolate. That's my favourite. It's what we used to call Caramac chocolate. But last year, my partner Kath randomly bought me a blonde egg, not really knowing what it meant, and I loved it. So she had a try this year, less successful. I got to be straight.
Do you?
Well, she bought a blonde Surface, but it was a bit like the Southern Fried Chicken in that the outside of it was blonde chocolate, but the inside was plain. And plain chocolate, as you know, is for people who don't like chocolate.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't you say?
Well,
Yeah. People who think, it's good for my red corpuscles. Oh, well, don't eat it. If you don't want fun with chocolate, don't eat it.
No, it was always the grown-up. It was always the dad's choice.
Yeah, but not this dad. Yeah. Anyway, so not only was it had the blonde chocolate, it was painted gold. Oh. So after eating a couple of chunks, I had a gold finger.
He's the man.
Is the do you think there
man
are
with the unsatisfying egg?
are the three are the three notes that could more spoil a song if you got them wrong than those three? Goldfinger. No. We'll do that again, shall we? Well, it wasn't my fault, you see. I was the man.
you were Goldfinger.
No, I haven't finished yet. The man with the Midas touch. Yeah. A spider's touch.
A spider's touch.
What's that got to do with it?
Yes.
Why bring that up? A spider's touch?
Also, the spider.
No gold involvement.
Yes, you're so right, Frank. Also, I wouldn't say a spider was well known for its touch. I mean, it's
Well,
more
no.
well known for its appearance.
Certainly not for its golden
You
touch.
barely feel them.
No.
You can't help but feel they're just throwing spider in there to justify Web of Sin a bit later on.
Oh, yeah,
No,
probably.
yeah.
Probably.
I
I mean,
find-
it might have been that Goldfinger was some sort of office sex pest.
Yes.
Maybe he's the man with the mid-ass touch.
So what's
It was a
happened?
misreading.
He's a horrible man to work for, Goldfinger.
terrible.
Unreasonable expectations.
Didn't Ian Fleming name him after a bloke he didn't like who was called Goldfinger?
Did he?
Who I think lived in Willow Road in Hampstead.
Oh,
But local
yeah.
knowledge.
I find a song with a warning very funny, but don't go in.
Yes.
Well, you've made it sound quite enticing.
Yes, and anything with beware.
Beware. Yeah.
It's like, well, maybe you should have told me a bit sooner than me having to hear the song.
You've really
I-
sold me on him. Now
Has
you're
he
telling me not to go in.
Has he got a Midas touch or a spider's touch? I mean, I know it rhymes, and I like a bit of internal rhyme, but they're quite different.
Mm-hmm.
What is this multiple choice lyrics? What do you think? Has he got a Midas or a spider's? You decide.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I was talking about my egg. I didn't say that the creator of my golden painted blonde and plain egg was the well-known cook Heston Blumenthal.
Well-known cook.
And
scientist.
I also didn't mention it wasn't actually an egg. It was a golden apple.
Oh, that's Pete Heston.
That was
Yeah.
the shape. Well, it said and I photographed this, it said on the side, and I quote, "The apple inspired Newton to discover gravity after he watched one fall from a tree." So far, so good.
Sure.
Oh, here we go. There'll be some critique.
It's a symbol, too, of our sense of taste. Is it? Is it, Heston?
You're hitting the rumble strips now, Heston,
Yeah.
on the motorway.
And then a sentence all on its own, a fruit. Who knew? Then that reminds us to keep an open mind, engage our senses, appreciate the moment and question everything. What reminds us of that? And in what way? Discuss.
Why are you proofreading Heston's packet?
It sounds,
Come on, Heston.
it sounds like he's dancing around an Eden reference there.
Yeah, it's a
Yes,
perfectly
he is.
nice. He's got some Apple sponsorship that he's doing
please.
subtly. And question everything. For who knows what we'll discover about food, about ourselves, if we do. Now, I don't think that keeping an open mind and engaging our senses and appreciating the moment will tell us that much about food, maybe about ourselves. But why bring it up on an Easter egg box?
Okay, can I be very honest? This is not for you, okay?
Well, it was bought for me.
Wait, you have a approach to food, you see it more as fuel, I would say.
Yes.
In the same way that when Kath and I have a bath separately, you say, why do you lie there in the bubbles? Yes?
Yes.
You say it's a functional thing. It's a transactional experience.
Well, Kath is not. She's not a wallower.
Well, I am a wallower.
The first time I saw my partner have a shower, I was astonished that she stood in the shower for about 10 minutes doing nothing.
I do that as well.
Like a person waiting for a bus in heavy rain and then got out and dried. I said, hold on, where's the washing process in that? She said, no, that all happens just from the shower. I don't think so.
I don't know about
Not
that.
unless you're on some sort of knife-throwing spinning disc under the shower.
You see, I think Kath bought this for you. It's very thoughtful because of... There was a sort of biblical nod with the apple.
Oh,
Do you think?
Look,
But
Maybe.
Heston didn't have the guts to bring the Bible into it. He's just alluding.
I've been to the Fat Dock.
Yes.
I'm in the restaurant, and the food was great, and it was a real experience, and I'd recommend it to anyone. I'm not anti-Heston. When it comes to literature, if I was him, I would stick to simmer for 15 minutes, stirring occasionally.
I like the idea of someone reading the side of that box and having a real existential crisis.
And thinking, you know what? I shall question everything on the strength of this egg. Apple. That well-known symbol of taste. Well, it tastes.
A fruit.
Did it have a stalk, Frank?
It did. It had a plain chocolate stalk.
Oh.
Yeah, that was the only
You put a twist on it.
The only exposed plain chocolate, pre-fist.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We was talking eggs post Easter. Did you see, by the way, that Subway did a Cadbury's cream egg melt?
Oh, no.
In which you got what are those long wooden bread things called?
Baguette.
Yeah, like a baguette. The things that their sausages normally come on.
Do you say baguette?
Wooden?
I'd say a cob. Nice cob.
Wooden?
Not wooden. Did I say wooden?
Yeah.
Then I was mistaken.
Thinking of clogs.
I'm thinking
He's got clogs on the mind.
long bread things.
Do you think he goes into Subway and says, can I have half a clog, please, my good man?
Cheese and toasted
I
clog.
haven't done it. It's a fast food area I haven't really discovered, Subway.
No, me neither.
Anyway, they did a Cadbury's cream egg melt, which was one of those bread long rolls
Yeah.
with like a couple of melted Cadbury's cream eggs.
Straight to jail.
Available with, for one day only, Good Friday. The day of fast and prayer.
It's a bit disrespectful.
Oh, God, I couldn't believe you. I quite fancied trying one as
I
well.
don't like melt.
No? What
tell
about a
you
tuna? You okay with a tuna?
No, I tell you why. Because it feels like it's an Americanism that people have just assumed we should automatically accept. I didn't get asked about this. It was toasty for many years, very cosy, very British. It was the toasty.
Yeah.
Do you want to melt? No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, I draw the line at people starting to use grilled cheese instead of toasty.
I mean, at the risk of sounding a bit Faragian,
Yeah.
I just think toasty was nice because there were no pretensions. Melt sounds a bit ambitious.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
the toasty comes with compression and one of those great irons.
Yes.
Whereas
Yes.
a grilled cheese could, who knows, it could just be flat on a roasting tray.
And melt has now been used by the Love Islanders, of course, as part
it?
of their language, yeah.
What,
Yes.
You
what
absolute
kind-
melt.
Which means what?
A bad man.
A bad
I don't
man,
know.
Frank.
A stupid idiot.
Negative setting on melt.
I know.
Bad man was a good way to
A bad
describe
man.
it, Pierre.
Do you think it comes from the witch in The Wizard of Oz. I'm melting! Do you think that's where the evil thing comes
Where
from?
does melt come from for the bad men?
No, you're asking the wrong guy.
Does melt have a suggestion of, just in case you want to use it, Frank?
Is it like Meltdown, someone with a temper?
No,
I
it's
think
got a
it's being
suggestion
sort of
of
lame and-
you're a bit of a foolish character.
A silly Billy.
Hold it, let me get this right. There are people on Love Island who've been condemned for being fools.
Yes, if you can
You
believe it.
absolute melt.
Yeah.
Is there a one-eyed man in this kingdom of the blind?
So, Frank, give me...
People are condemned for being fools on Love Island.
Yeah, it's they've got an enormous amount of planks and an enormous amount of eyes on Love Island.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they'd say...
It's a ship of fools, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's their tagline, isn't it, for the new series?
How would you use it?
Your favourite ship of fools is back next week.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't know automatically what programme that was going to be. You might narrow it down to about 100
Yeah.
possible series. Oh, Love Island. Lowe's Island.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We continued to discuss Love Island, a programme I've never seen an entire episode of.
Have you
so
not?
I speak from ignorance.
What did you think
Seems
of what
very
you saw?
apt. What did I think? This sounds a bit holier than thou.
I
But
find that very hard to believe.
the bit I saw was a young woman being discussed in a quite derogatory way by a young man. And I thought, I've tried to avoid that in later life.
My friend Katie Story, who's a comedian, writer, producer, she said a version that she would love to watch of Love Island would be me with my love of looking things up and the soul of a pedant. I'd be a sort of wild card contestant, and I would win all the sort of money or prize or whatever on the condition that I remained silent while the other contestants explained various historical or scientific phenomena.
Incorrectly, presumably.
Deeply incorrectly,
I
yes.
think you'd be nicknamed Brains as well.
Yeah, I think they'd regard me as sort of not quite of sort of human.
He's always got his head stuck in a book.
No, you'd be a freak show.
I think I'd be a freak
you'd
show.
definitely as someone who swallowed a dictionary.
Well, I think we'd all be freak shows. I mean, like, no doubt
On Love
for
Island.
different reasons.
But you know what? I went to a children's party last week, and my nephew Elliot was 7, and they had a quiz. They had a spy-themed quiz. And even though it was children sitting cross-legged, putting their hands up, there was times where they didn't know and I was knowing the answer and not being allowed. I was turning away from. I couldn't even look at the unraised hands. What is wrong with you? This is what I was like with homeschooling. You know, I thought I would be like Robin Williams in Dead Poets Society. On day one, I was going, 8 and 3. What's the 8 and 3? I mean,
It's tough. I was once sat on a train as two people who were sat sort of a few rows behind me who I couldn't see. One of whom was from England and one of whom was speaking English as a second language. Mm-hmm. And the person speaking English as a second language used whom correctly and was corrected by the native English speaker and lengthily informed about the wrong way to do it. And I sat with white knuckles.
well,
The rest of the train journey. They're wrong. They're leading you astray. You've done very well.
You should have
I wanted
held
to
up a
shout.
sign, sort of Love Actually style,
trust
as
your
you got
friend.
up. Yeah.
Your friend's
I
betraying
feel
you.
we sound a little elitist
Yes.
now. I will point out at this party that I ate, and this is a conservative estimate, 15 cherry tomatoes. 15.
Why?
Because it was the only food on the table I felt confident the children would not have touched. Right? And how do you eat them? Are you a nibbler? Do you nibble or do you go for the grenade? Because, if you feed them to children, you're supposed to cut them in half because if you bite them in your mouth, they explode. They go down your windpipe a couple of pips. You're in trouble. But I just risk it.
I just punch them and eat the shards.
Ew. I put
You
a
go Easter
straw.
egg.
What I like about them as well is they are slightly cherry-like. So the name works.
I don't eat them whole.
No?
No, the same reason I don't put an orange in my mouth. I think they're delicacies.
What about a kumquat?
I wouldn't eat that whole. Cut everything.
That's what
Trust
a
no one.
Oh.
I cut the cherry tomato in half. I like to see the innards exposed. You know
fair
what's
enough.
lurking in there.
And also, you want to put salt on. There's no salt at the children's party.
No. How did you brush your teeth?
To hell with it, that's what I thought. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is that a cherry tomato, that's a reasonable combination, the cherry, because it looks a bit like a cherry. Whereas the grapefruit, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Now, regarding it's been a big year for novelty eggs. We've got the Southern Fried Chocken,
Yeah.
the Subway disaster. It sounds
Yeah.
horrible to me. But
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw in the news as well. There was a man who has left his Easter egg uneaten. And you, Frank, as an admirer of delayed gratification, must look up to this man as a god. He's left his Easter egg uneaten for 45 years.
Yes.
Yep.
He bought a Kitty's Cottage egg, which I have to
We've all
say,
done it.
The Daily Mirror spoke of Kitty's Cottage as if we would all go, oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, I have to admit ignorance on that one.
Yes.
So it must have been in around, when was it, 1978?
78.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't recall the Kitty's Cottage, and I was a huge consumer.
Well, interestingly, and I don't want to get into minutiae early on, but the Mirror say, and it's a lovely time for this story because it's the 20th anniversary of Kitty's Cottage this week. And I thought, well, if it's the 20th anniversary, how did he buy one in 1978?
What is Kitty's Cottage?
Okay, I'll tell you what Kitty's Cottage is.
Yeah.
We should say, so this man kept the egg
In his fridge.
in his fridge.
For all that time.
And he's gone through at least 4 fridges, and he's
Yeah.
bothered to move
It's
it.
still in the box.
I mean,
Yes.
let's unpack that.
Yeah.
Unlike the egg
Well, no,
later.
he's not. I don't think he is going to unpack that.
I think that's the problem.
But also, it's got an egg and a cat.
Kitty's Cottage, in
Yeah.
case anyone hasn't, in the unlikely event
Yes.
you're unfamiliar with Kitty's Cottage Easter egg, it is very strange looking. Because it had a note on it, and it said, "Welcome to Kitty's Cottage."
Yes.
It said on the packaging, which I thought was rather grand, like it was Downton Abbey or something. It was literally just a box with an egg, a foil tatty egg, and one cat, which frankly looked like had cataracts or something.
Well,
Glauco-
cataracts. To be fair, the cat.
What is that cat
cat's
thing?
been in a fridge for 45 years. I mean, give it a break.
I
It
would-
looks like. Remember Michael Stipe sort of eye makeup, that sort of that mask, that navy blue band that went across his eyes. The cat's got that.
I thought
It's very threadbare.
I recommend looking up a picture of it because I thought it looked a bit Haunted Idol Indiana Jones. Sort
Yes.
of jade eyes smashed into this golden cat's face.
Hasn't this man seen Toy Story 2? Where these toys bemoan the fact that some creepy collector
Yeah.
has kept them in their boxes. They want to be out and be played with. That cat wants to be played with by
Oh,
children.
not anymore.
Doesn't want to be in a
Needs to be in the Moorfields Eye Hospital.
Oh no, 45-year-old sight impaired, imprisoned cat.
In a fridge.
Can't be right. Everything about it is wrong.
Well, John, this is John Gartland of Dundalk. This is who's done this. And he
Okay.
got it when he was 5. And he said, and I'm interested to know if this is true, he says back in 1978, Easter eggs were a lot plainer. So he was elated to receive such a special, sort of fabulous-looking
I
egg
can
and
see that.
kitten. Is that true?
The idea is that you keep the cat, that's the thing you keep,
Yeah.
out
He's-
of its packaging.
Do you?
Yeah, you can-
Glaucoma cat.
I'm no closer to.
Why would
the cat wouldn't have looked like that. The cat now.
Whoa. Are you suggesting the toy, the cat's eyes wouldn't have looked like that had
No.
you taken it out the box?
No, it's deteriorated. It's you see what happened to David Blaine when he was in that box for
Yeah.
so long.
Look, he was cryogenically frozen. That should have been good for him.
No, he wasn't. Not in his London one. It was him.
I'm no closer to finding out what Kitty's cottage was.
No,
I don't like the sound of it.
Never
Sounds a
mind
bit
Kitty's
sleazy.
cottage. No, it's called Kitty's Mausoleum.
I don't like the cottage.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We were talking about. Sorry, his name has escaped me. The man from Dundalk.
John Gartland,
John Gartland, owner of the
egg preserver.
Kitty's
Yes.
Cottage egg.
Yes.
Now, what is Kitty? Was Kitty's cottage a shop?
No,
A
I think
brand?
it was a brand. I suspect it was eggs that always came with a toy cat.
I see.
I don't know where the cottage was probably pictured on the wrapping. No one expected it to live in the egg. No. Never allowed.
No.
The fact the two never touched.
What, the kitty and the egg?
Yeah, what came first?
Certainly wasn't the kitty, the state of those eyes.
I mean, I've had a marzipan corgi in my fridge since 2018.
You haven't.
Yeah, from the Queen's 92nd birthday cake. I kept it.
Did you?
And I've got an 11-month-old birthday cake,
Have you?
which is Bozzy's birthday cake, which he had about 7 slices out of, and the rest was it's Alice Cooper design.
You see, when I saw this story, I hope this goes down okay. We'll soon find out. I did think of you. Simply because it's complimentary in a way. There's a self-restraint. Would you not agree with this, Pierre? There's an element of Frank here and a little bit of fabulous gittishness in a way. Saying to the family for a 40-year period or however long, you shall not pass. No matter how desperate they are for chocolate. Kitty's Cottage, no one gets to Kitty's Cottage.
I think you could use it the other way as a threat. I'll make you eat the Kitty's cottage if you don't do your
Yeah.
homework. Or...
Yeah,
Do you, I mean, is there let's say, for example, there was like a Zygon egg you got or a Dalek egg.
yes.
I can imagine if you were keeping that.
No, yes, I can see that. I mean, the Alice Cooper cake. I'm thinking of giving it to the wild birds. Wouldn't harm them, would it?
Yeah,
I don't know. Depends what's in the cake.
we'll soon
Well,
find
it's
out.
just a normal cake, but it's 11 months old.
It shouldn't do.
They're less fussy than.
But they're okay about sell-by dates in my experience.
I think they are.
They don't. What are they going? And also, what are they going to do?
Yeah. You
What, sue me? I don't think so. Anyway, it's a strange tale. I think you'll agree. I think I'll keep the corgi forever, probably.
Yeah.
No, why not?
Yes.
Lovely thing to hang on to.
An heirloom.
Yeah.
Marzipan
As
heirloom.
John Gartland of Ireland says, it's just like part of the fridge now. I don't even think of it really anymore.
I've got a blue hangover mask in the fridge that might have been there for 15 years.
Oh,
I think
really?
it's transferred from various fridges. I like his kitty cottage thing.
Blue hangover mask. What, did
Sort
you
of
lend it
ice.
to Michael Stipe?
A hangover mask. Do you know what it is, Tanya? It's like a blue plastic mask with blue freezable fluid in it.
I think of that as an American Psycho mask.
Oh.
Christian Bale's
Yes.
character wears one at one point.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's like the concept of the ice globes, which I use on my face another time.
Oh, okay.
Do you not use the hangover mask?
I think I might have used it. No, because it's post hangover for me. I think my
Yeah.
partner might have used it for headaches. That old one. Anyway, the next episode of Frank Skinner's Poetry Podcast will be out on Wednesday. One of my very favourites, Thomas Hardy. And I'll be discussing whether it's great strangeness or strange greatness. We'll find out. And you can download it from wherever you get your podcasts. It's been a very difficult couple of weeks for the show. Thank you all for your really very brilliant messages, and
They've been so comforting.
Yeah.
They really have.
Yeah.
really much appreciated. And we should raise a piece of Easter egg for absent friends. Okay,
Yeah.
Toodle pip.